Let me say that I think all of us would agree that we need transparency, we need to understand this, but the way that we can stop the speculation is to show that we are going to do what we can using our own natural resources and our own creativity to increase the supply of oil and gas and renewables in our country. And all of the Democratic proposals don't produce 1 ounce of a barrel of oil.
But to answer my direct question, would you agree to legislation on oil speculation?
Well, I think
separating it out.
If you are talking about a cartel that speculates and fixes the prices, that is absolutely something that Republicans and Democrats would agree on. But if you're talking about people going into the market of their own free will, not controlling anything, then it is a market issue. And I think transparency would be a good add, and I would work with Senator Dorgan on that. I think we need to look at the whole issue and understand it, but if we bring up supply, we will bring down the price.
Mr. Cavaney, let me bring you into this because Senator Dorgan brought up something that a lot of people talk about, and that is the huge amounts of money that big oil is making, $36 billion, the 5 oil companies in the first quarter of this year. And it's not just Democrats who are going after big oil. Let's take a look at what John McCain said recently. Here it is.
I'm very angry, frankly, at the oil companies, not only because of the obscene profits they've made, but their failure to invest in alternate energy to help us eliminate our dependence on foreign oil.
Very angry, obscene profits, and this is the Republican nominee talking.
Well, there's a couple facts that need to be entered into this. First of all, if you look at the last quarter, first quarter of this year, the profits the industry made was 7.4%. That's return on a dollar of sales. The Dow Jones Industrial Average made 8.5%. If you want to go back 5 years, 10 years, we make the all industry average. Now, our profits are large because over the last 30 years, what's happened is the competitors to publicly held oil companies are foreign governments and their national oil companies. And these companies have to scale up to be the equivalent size to compete with them in order to get the oil on the global market to bring back to this country to run through our refineries. If we had more domestic production, we could reduce our reliance on imports. And to the point we just discussed earlier, the problem we have right now globally is supply and demand are very, very close. That creates the platform for people to enter into these commodity markets on the expectation that other things are going to happen. So just solving the speculation isn't necessarily going to take the price of oil where it could be. You need both production, which you get through access and refinery expansions, and then you need to look at the transparent process.
Senator Dorgan, let's look at what Barack Obama said last week about, or this week rather, about the spike in gas prices. Here it is.
So could these high prices help us?
I think that I would have preferred a gradual adjustment. The fact that this is such a shock to American pocketbooks is not a good thing.
Senator Obama's gradual adjustment, he seems to be saying that the rise in gas prices may actually be helping us form a better energy policy.
Well, it certainly forces some conservation for people that can't afford to fill their tank.
So he
let me say this. No, he does not. But let me say this. You just heard him. Let me say this. We've had people testify before the Congress that says this excess speculation that's going on in these markets has increased the price of gas and oil by 20 to 30%. We've got to wring that out. That's unfair to the American people to be paying this kind of a price because speculators are having a field day. And one final point. We tap dance around this table talking about everything except that which we have to talk about, and that is change. We've got to address renewables in a very significant way. We can't drill our way out of this. Yes, we should produce more. We should drill more. But you can't drill your way out of this. We have to have a different energy mix because 60% of our oil now comes from off our shore. This is all about change.
Well, let me ask you one aspect of drilling about it, Mr. Cavaney. There's a report this weekend that Saudi Arabia is prepared to start producing 500,000 more barrels of oil a day. What would that do to prices?
We can't see exactly, but clearly more volumes of production is going to help put downward pressure on prices globally. And that's why increasing our excess and production here in the U.S. would also help that equation.
And where do you see the price of gasoline headed over the course of the next year?
It's difficult to say, but typically gasoline peaks right at the beginning of the driving season, which we've just gone through. And so if we get a regular pattern, hopefully without any geographical or other problems like hurricanes coming in, we should see it, if it follows usual trends, taper down as we go through the summer.
But do you see it going down below $4 the rest of this year?
We can't say because we don't control all those other factors.
And just very briefly, we've got less than a minute left, to the two of you. I got to say, listening to the two of you, it doesn't sound like Congress is going to do anything about this in the rest of this election year.
I don't agree with that. I think that we are going to tackle speculation and get the speculators out of this market. And if we do, I think we will see a reduction in prices. And by the way, the Saudis, I think, are going to announce an 800,000 barrel increase. That should put some downward pressure on prices as well.
Senator Hutchison, you get the last word.
Well, I would just say if we're going to make a deal right here, it should be a balanced approach. Yes, let's have more transparency on speculators, but the way to stop speculators is for Congress to act, for Congress to open up our own natural resources to produce. That would stop the speculators, and it would bring the price of gasoline down.
Senator Hutchison, Senator Dorgan, Mr. Cavaney, thank you all so much for coming in today.
Thank you.